Soldier's Joy. Chicken and says he's mine. We rock that cradle, Julie, rock that cradle, Julie. We rock that cradle, Julie, and keep that baby warm. We rock that cradle, Julie, rock that cradle, Julie. We rock that cradle, Julie, don't let that baby cry. It's 25 cents for the morphine, it's 15 cents for the beer. It's 25 cents for the morphine, I'm gonna drink me away from here. I'm gonna get a drink, don't you wanna go? I'm gonna get a drink, don't you wanna go? I'm gonna get a drink, don't you wanna go? Hold on, soldier's joy.
Welcome to Kitty Corner, the home of the Cats of Gettysburg. This is our special place where our volunteers provide shelter and care for dozens of otherwise homeless cats and kittens while they wait for homes of their own. Here, they're able to live in a home-like environment where people can come to meet them and pick out the perfect kitty to add to their family. We have provided this service for homeless cats from Adams and surrounding counties for over 6 years and have found homes for thousands. We operate almost completely on the generosity of our friends and community members. Monetary contributions and donations of supplies allow our volunteers and foster families to care for about 200 cats and kittens every day. It takes a village to do what we do, and we are always looking for people to get involved by donating, fostering, adopting, or volunteering. We invite you to stop out any Saturday or Sunday from 11 to 3 and see what we do. Once you meet the Cats of Gettysburg, it will be obvious why we do it.
I see that I can equip each student with what they need.
God has brought them here, and He gives us the tools every single time to be able to work with them individually.
We have the opportunity to not only invest academically, but also to impart the Word of God for right living.
We have businesses that have partnered with us. We have churches that have partnered with us. There is a spot for you. Reach out to us at freedomchristianschools.com.
Ready or not, this is Sports Chat alongside Corey Smith. I'm Jeff Cook. Welcome to the program, unscripted sports talk in your living room every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Jordan and Sean are here to push all the right buttons. Maybe we'll get a caller or two, 717-334-3000. Corey, we kind of prepped a little bit for some of our housekeeping matters. Hottest scene in sports?
Yeah.
Why don't you take the lead?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas Rangers. They're on a 3-game losing streak. It's not just the losing streak why they're on the hot seat. It's how they lost on Sunday. They kind of get everybody up to speed.
2 years ago, they were the world champs.
Mm-hmm. In the 2023 or 2024 or 2023 season. So what happened? The score is 2-2 in the bottom of the ninth. The Giants are getting ready to bat. The Rangers put in their closer, Luke Jackson, the pitch. The first pitch, it is a little hit by Ramos. The ball goes 2 feet. Jackson gets the ball, throws it a little off balance to first base. The ball goes to right field line. The first baseman, Jack Berger, gets the ball, throws it to third. The ball goes down the left field line, and Ramos goes all the way to score on a Little League home run to win the game.
A win is a win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing. If the team wants to give it to you, wow.
You take it.
Good choice, yeah. And we were thinking along the same lines. I said, how about the manager of the 4-24 Colorado Rockies? Bud Black's been there a long time, but a 143 winning percentage, that's hard to survive.
I agree. They are the only team out there that have not won back-to-back games.
The Chi Sox, even at 7-21, better than last year. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something.
With the Rockies being 4-24, at home they're 3-10. On the road they're 1-14.
Have they won a series? That's a good question, huh?
No, I mean all their games are just
like a win here, a win there.
Win
so
there.
unless they had a 2-game series and they split it, they didn't win a series. They lost every series. So, wow, startling.
We said this before we went live there, but I think whoever has the more wins against the Rockies in that division, it's probably going to win that division because you got the Dodgers are at 19-10, Giants 19-10, Padres 17-11, and D-backs are only 3.5 games back, but they're 15-13. So whoever takes care of business with the Rockies, you can't just lay down, oh, it's the Rockies. You got to take care of business. You play 13 games against them. So
Sounds like the Padres have come back to the group is a little bit.
yeah,
They had a really hot start. I mean, they had a big. I mean, they had not a big lead, but a lead over the Giants and Dodgers, and now they're third. So
they're
little
still playing good baseball at home. At home, they were 11-0. Right now they're 12-4. So still good. On the road they're 5-7. It just comes down to pitching and all that there.
yeah.
But
Nick Pivetta, former Philly, former Red Sox, he's been pretty good for them. I think you said this before. They're getting back
Darvish,
Darvish.
probably in about a month or so there. But
Yeah.
Darvish is he's
he's
38.
elite.
He's still he's
Number
not going to
one,
be what he
number
was.
1.5 maybe. Yeah.
He'll probably be like the third in the rotation there, just because with his age and such there, and you don't really need him to be the ace. So that's another weapon coming down the road there. But seeing how that is, it's going to be an interesting 4-team battle. In the NL West, day in, day out. You got to take advantage. You can't, be like the Giants and lose a game, like that. You got to keep on. I mean, the Giants winning a game like that, they're kind of, puts their momentum up there. So see what happens.
Okay.
But that was my.
Good picks.
Hot
Good
seat
picks for the
there.
hottest seat in sports. If you have someone else to join the group, give us a call, 717-334-3000. Shining Star.
I'll let
Another
you
good
take-
choice. Oh, you want me? Okay.
I'll let you take.
I'm
the-
going to repeat myself from either last week or a couple weeks ago. High school track star Lily Carlson. I looked at Ed Riggs does a great job for the Gettysburg Times, putting all the area times and distances, and I mean, there are only two genders now, but the male gender, the top pole vault is 11-6 or something like that, 11-3, 11-1. And Lily Carlson's 2 feet beyond that. So just really impressive. She's already had a state title to her credit, and we wish her luck. Have they had the states yet?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
It's probably nearing.
Yeah, maybe it's this weekend. We'll see. So, and then I'm going to go with, okay, the Phillies got Jordan Romero over the offseason. He was shelled. One game he gave up 6 runs. They had to bring their closer in. He couldn't protect a 7-run lead. His ERA is over 10, 15, something like that, maybe 20. So they bring him in to try to close it out against the Cubs. What a leap of faith for Topper, the manager. But somehow he retired the Cubs in order, and the Phillies escaped with a 3-1 win, won the series. But I liked your pick for Shining Star.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to the diamond again. I'm going to go with Eugenio Suarez. He became the 19th player to hit 4 home runs in the game. Typically, when you hit 4 home runs in a game, your team's going to win. Not the chance for the D-backs. They lost the game 8-7 to the Braves. And this was actually the second fewest RBIs for a player that hit 4 home runs.
5.
He had 5. The fewest was 4, just 4
All
solo
solos,
shots. Yeah, but
I did the math. You could get fewer than 4. That's a good choice. And then we talked about the NBA, and I liked your pick there too.
yeah, we can segue right into the NBA. With that there with Aaron Gordon. With the game-winning dunk. I can't remember the last time I saw.
Who shot that ball? You showed me
The Joker.
Jokic.
Jokic.
Now, is he going to say it was a pass? Did he get an assist?
He said that was a game-winning shot for him. That's what he
Okay.
was saying.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon got.
So he should get a rebound, like you grab the air ball, and like
Or would that
Lorenzo
be?
Charles.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Lorenzo Charles kind of moment where Coach Valvano couldn't find somebody to hug.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I could think of comparing because I
Yeah.
can't think of, an NBA game that was a dunk, just going back to NC State back in 1983. So,
Now, a couple of 4-0 sweeps, and you can see, make your prediction if there'll be any gentlemen sweeps. I know that's a great term
Yeah.
that you turned me on to. So, what, Thunder? Did they have a sweep?
yep, they swept.
Cavs?
Yep. The thing with the Thunder, their average margin of victory was 19.3.
Was that the Heat?
That was the Thunder.
No, I mean, but who they beat?
They beat Memphis, and
Oh,
then,
that's right, okay. And the Heat
the-
lost to the
Cavs.
Cavs. Okay, that makes sense, East and West. So Memphis, did Ja Morant play at all after he got hurt?
I think he played sparingly, but it wasn't much. I mean, the Thunder came back and won. They were trailing for a portion of that game there. They won 117-115. But the last night game with the Cavs and the Heat, it was over before it started.
137 to 87 or something.
Yep, they
It was
won
like
by
50.
55 points. It was the fourth highest, because the Thunder were right up there when they beat the Memphis there. So, we got a game on right now. The Bucks are playing the Pacers as we speak. Right now, the Bucks are up 6-0, which that's
What station?
that is on NBA TV.
Okay, and
So
it's 3-1 Pacers.
3-1 Pacers, and
Gentlemen
then
sweep?
that. I'm going to go with the Bucks to win this game, not just because they're up 9-0 now, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Bucks can do without
Dame Lillard.
He's out for the season now.
Achilles, he's going to be out for longer than the season.
I think he's going to be out for all of next year too. Just the way he's not a young chicken anymore. It's going to take some
Everybody
time.
heals differently, though. Didn't Aaron Rodgers come back quickly from the Achilles? He had some kind of alternate treatment? I don't know.
Well, I mean, when he got his torn Achilles, it was the first week of the season there. So
Yeah,
it
right.
still takes a good.
Then he played at the end of the year.
No, he played. Yeah, he was out the whole
Okay.
season. He came back
Who
in
am I
20.
thinking of? Somebody came back quickly. I don't know. But anyway. All right. So, surprise. We talked about this, I think, before we came on the air. But the Braves were woeful, and now they've turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, looking
Let's
at.
go through the divisions.
Yeah, we can start with the NL East, work our way down, and then go to the American League there. But looking at the NL East, just the way
Mets.
the Mets have been playing, their pitching has been spectacular, and then their hitting. Yesterday they beat the Nats 19-5. For the majority of the game, it was a shutout. The Nats scored a couple runs in the eighth and the ninth inning there, but. Just the way that they've been handling, Griffin Canning went 5 innings.
I never heard of that guy before. Did you?
Yeah, he's been, he pitched with the Angels for a couple seasons there. Mostly like a 4-5 guy in the rotation there, but he's kind of really blossomed, right now, with the Mets there. So, looking at the Mets, they're playing some good ball. They were playing the
Lindor,
D-backs.
lights out. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. I agree.
You look at the Phillies, they're on the 2-game winning streak after dropping a few.
5 in a row.
Last week there. So with them being 15-13, they're right in the fray. They're 4.5 games back from the Mets there. But if they can just kind of
Somebody's
stay
got to get
apart.
hot. Either Schwarber or Harper or Turner or 2 out of 3. Castellanos has been kind of carrying the team. Bohm's starting to play better. Bryson Stott, he's having a solid season. So the potential's there. The starters are pretty good. The bullpen's been shaky lately, so they got to get that figured out. Mm-hmm. Can't always depend on Jose Alvarado to go 2 innings. That's not a good plan.
No, you don't really want your closer to go 2+ innings all the time there. What kind of strikes me with the Phillies is their run differential. Right now, it's 0. They have scored 124 and they have given up 124 runs.
So they're lucky to be
where they're
2
at.
games over 500.
I mean, looking at teams above 500, they're 6-7. At home they're 9-4. Where on the road they're 6-9. So just kind of seeing how that goes.
It's way early.
Yeah.
So who's next?
You got the Braves. Like
It was
we've been
kind of
saying.
close between those three teams at the bottom, but the Marlins were kind of overachieving for a while. But now the Braves are alone in third.
They're a half game ahead of the Nats, but I see the Nats and the Marlins kind of not. I think they're going to.
There's a ceiling
plateau.
for them.
I
They're not
think-
going to be in. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the Nats can make some noise next year there. With the prospects that they have, the young nucleus that they have there. The Marlins, they were on a 3-game losing streak. They're 12 and 16. They were right that 500 baseball there, but I
But
just
yeah, I mean, nobody goes to their games. It's got to be depressing when you're playing in front of an empty
Mm-hmm.
stadium.
and most of the guys that they have on their roster is probably going to get dealt by the deadline, and they're going to just restart
Billy's
all over
pretty
again.
pretty happy with Jesus Luzardo so far. He's pitched very well for
Mm-hmm.
him. Powerful lefty. All right, so the Central.
Yeah,
The
right.
Reds look like they're getting squared away.
Yeah, the Reds are playing some great
Tito's
baseball
back.
there. They have what I think one of the good closers in baseball right now, or the first month of the season with Emilio Pagan. He has 8 saves. He's been very efficient throughout his outings there. Closing 1-run games. I mean that's one of the hardest things probably to do is hold a 1-run lead there. So they're on a 5-game winning streak. They're 7-3 in their last 10. And, this is a team that I kind of like to kind of overtake that division there.
Well, are the Cubs still first? They were first, but
They have a 1-game lead over the Reds.
Okay.
The Cubs are 17-12. The Reds are 16-13. I just like the core with the Reds pitching. I said that at the beginning. If Hunter Green pitches the way he did this month of April and just continues that, he's going to be in the Cy Young
yeah,
conversation there. So
yeah, he's.
and I mean they had that week where they were not scoring runs and they were losing 1-0 like 2-3 games in a row. So if the bats keep on going, I'd like them contending for that division and making the playoffs. Now the
St. Louis.
St. Louis is 12-17.
Yeah,
They're just
sound fundamentals. That's what the team's known for. Some names maybe you haven't heard of, but don't count them out, I suppose.
I mean, they were one of the last few teams to lose a game, to start the season there. At home, they're playing some great baseball. They're 10-5, but on the road is the problem. They're 2-12, and
That's a big difference.
it doesn't help right now that they're going to be playing a series with the Reds. So
Could be a separator.
that definitely could be a separator there, where they're 4 games back from the Reds. So see how that plays out there. And we just said the Reds are on a 5-game winning streak, where the Cardinals are not playing some great baseball. So see what happens there. And then the Pirates are 11-18.
Yeah, and how long do they have Skeens under contract? When could he become a free agent? After 4 years?
After 4 years, you got the pre-arbitration, the
This
arbitration,
is
and
his second year.
this last year he lost the rookie tag there. So
That's good. They didn't try to keep him down on the farm to get an extra year out of him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't think anyone can imagine him staying with the Pirates just because of the market size and the kind of offers. Well, yeah, hey, a lot can happen in 3 years.
see what
Got to
happens.
say, he had one rough outing recently, so, but definitely he's a bright young star of the game.
It would be nice to see the Pirates kind of lock up a superstar pitcher. You didn't do it with Garrett Cole, and
Yeah.
there's other players that Glasnow, in house there that you just and then the other thing is, does Skeens want to stay in Pittsburgh when the contract's up there? If he's on his final year and he wants to test the market, I don't see him staying in Pittsburgh. So
Right,
see
right.
what happens there.
Yeah,
but
yeah, you never know. But yeah, I would say the Vegas odds would be long on that.
and then we touched on the West there. And, we can put
Left
up
out the Brew Crew.
the Brewers 14-15. They've been playing
Traded away some of their best players. Right?
it's going to
last 2
be
years.
curious to see how without Willie Adames, with him being with
Who hasn't been lighting it up for the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
He's hitting about 150. I don't know.
so there's some other pieces that need to be for the Brewers. They're playing the White Sox. You got to take advantage of teams at the bottom of their divisions there. So I see it being like a 2-horse race. I see the Brewers kind of fading out probably towards the second half of the season there, but I could be wrong on that standard there. But looking at the NL West, we talked about it at the beginning of the show there.
The Rockies are not going to win the division. Mm-hmm. You won't win much money if you make a bet like that.
No, I mean if you put a bet saying that they're going to have the worst record in baseball, you might win that. But
Yeah, you're going to get very short odds. You're not going to make a lot of money.
They're on
Get hot and spoil it, so don't wager too much on that one.
So the Rockies are on a 7-game losing streak, and it's not looking promising. It's
Well, like
gonna-
I said, I mean, I guess they draw pretty well. It's a scenic ballpark.
Yeah.
Great way to spend the night in
at the
the
Rockies
mountain
there.
time
Yeah.
zone, a mile-high city.
It's going to be interesting to see what.
Pitchers don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's because your stats get destroyed, the thin air, the altitude.
Even the hitters aren't hitting the ball, for the Rockies wise. I mean,
Maybe you get homeritis, thinking all you got to do is lift the ball up and it's going to go out. And who knows? Wind patterns change, and so. All right. So we covered the National League pretty well. We'll come back to the American League. Let's take this call.
yeah, we can take the call.
Hello,
and-
welcome to Sports Chat. Hello? We lost the caller. Go ahead. Let's start with the American League. Where do you want to go? The West?
We can go with the West and work our way to the.
Are the
Central.
Angels better this year? And is
I-
Trout going to be an Angel at the end of the year? Is he healthy?
I don't see anybody taking that contract. I don't see anybody. It's still a lot of
Dollars.
and the years on that deal. I don't see them trading. I think their window was beforehand. Looking at the division, it's very winnable for even the Angels. I mean, the Angels are 12-15. I think they still need pitching.
Seattle, I guess, is in first, aren't they?
Seattle's 16-12. The Astros are 15-13. They've been playing better baseball, the last couple weeks ago. But the team that not a lot of people have been talking about is the Athletics. The Athletics are 15-14. They're getting more of their young players coming up there.
And we talked about some of the studs they had on the team. Rooker, Miller, right?
Stauden Storm has 10 home runs or such there.
Soderstrom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast there. And then they just brought up their top prospect, that was drafted last year, Kurtz. So they got the pop there and the hitting wise, but goes back to other teams as well is the pitching. I don't think they have enough for the pitching to kind of hold.
I wonder if the fans of Sacramento have embraced the Athletics. How are they doing crowd-wise?
It's not like
Probably
a 40,
better than Tampa's playing in the
the George
minor league park.
Steinbrenner
Yeah.
park there, but they're not going to get 40,000 or or 20,000 or such like that there. But I say it looks okay from where they're at there. But
Well, let's put it in perspective. You can only go with 10,000, but if they're 8,000 or 9,000 in a stadium that holds 10, that's a lot better than
It looks more filled.
7,000 in the Oakland Coliseum or in the Trop.
yeah, I mean they tarp up the
Yeah, so you don't see all those
up
empty
there.
seats. Well, yeah.
I think the A's are going to contend for maybe a 500. I'm not going to say they're a playoff team just yet there, but I think they have a great leader, a manager that kind of leads this young group
Yes,
there.
Kotze, he manager of the year candidate in the early going.
Yeah, if they can get 75, 80 wins, I think he will be the manager of the year.
How far is it from Oakland to Sacramento?
I think an hour and a half.
Okay. I'm sure there's some loyal fans that make the trip.
And then spinning to the Central, the Tigers. The Tigers are the class of that American League.
Yeah, I mean, they have some good starting pitching, too.
You know, Tyreek Schoolball, you know, has been,
Screwball?
you know, Tyreek has,
Screwball.
he got the shutout his last outing there. He's been very impressive. You know, they're 18-11. You know, they have a 2.5 game cushion with the Guardians. The Guardians have lost 3 in a row. The Royals, you know, have just, you know,
Started playing a little better.
Yeah,
They had a rough start.
you know, Witt has just really been the only, you know, calling card right now for the Royals. So they sit at 14-15, and you know the Twins have, you know, I would say they're a little bit of a disappointment right now, even with the 4-game winning streak. You know, they sit at 13-16.
They still have Correa, right? Their shortstop. I mean,
Yeah, he's been kind
got
of
some
you know in a funk a little bit, you know, to start the season there. So,
Old.
you know, that's one of the disappointment. You know, looking at the East, you know, kind of quickly there, I think you know, if you have to put, you know, a disappointment, I would say the Orioles are probably the top of, you know, the teams that you would, you know, expect to be up in the top of the division there. And, you know, they sit at 11-17. They're in, you know, not like a must win, but you're playing the Yankees where you want to, you know, catch up to the division
Yeah.
leader there. So
How's Burns doing? Is he a snake now?
yeah, he's with the D-backs there. He kind of had a, you know, a couple not rough outings, but, you know, not to his caliber,
Yeah.
you know, in the first couple outings there. But
How about Santander with the Blue Jays?
right now he's hitting below 200. He's at like 190. You know, he only has a few home runs, so you know, see what happens, you know, in the coming weeks there.
Vladimir Guerrero signed a big contract.
14 years.
Wow. So he's not going anywhere.
And then, you know, Tampa Bay is on a 5-game winning streak after losing a handful. I think they lost like 6 in a row. Now they are on a 5-game winning streak. So Tampa Bay is 14-14. And
They've always been an interesting team. They do more with less than
Yeah.
just about anybody else around.
I think the best way to describe them is, you know, just scrappy. You know,
Yeah.
they just,
And,
you know,
and that starts with their front office. It's the same thing. They
you know,
just
with
work
Kevin
hard.
Cash and, you know, and
Yeah.
that leadership there.
Let's go to the phone line. Welcome to Sports Chat. Hello. Hello? What, are we got a hang-up artist here? What's your hang-up, man? Woman?
I don't know.
Okay, well, so we covered the divisions. Early candidates for MVP. Do you see anybody that's worth talking? I guess Aaron Judge. I mean,
I would
is he
say
still hitting over 400?
I think I haven't checked his average going into today there, but it's right around like the 400 mark there. But if I have to put a MVP for the month of April, I would go with Aaron Judge, and then for the National League, I would probably go with Tatis. You know,
Fernando Tatis Jr.
you know,
What are his stats? I mean, he's high 300s,
I can pull those up in just a second.
and they had a great start. I mean, but yeah, how can you not give it to Judge? Judgy and blast as.
Yeah, so Tatis right now through 27 games, you know, he has an average of 346 with 18 RBIs, 8 home runs, 36 hits there.
Say
so,
no more.
you know,
He's got
that's
it.
where I would
Yeah.
lean towards.
Right.
Now Cy Young, I would.
Pitcher of the month. Let's just call it. I think I like that
yeah.
condensing it. Pitcher of the month.
You know, pitcher of the month for the the American League, I would go with Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown he went 30 innings of consecutive no runs allowed. He gave up a run over the weekend there, but you know,
Remind me again who he plays for.
for the Astros.
All right, Hunter Brown. You had him on the
Shining Star. A few, you know, I think it was last week we put him on there. So just the way he's been pitching, and then you know for the National League, I would probably go with the other Hunter and Hunter Green.
What about Yamamoto? Is he off to a hot start with the Dodgers? I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's right up there. Yeah, I think his ERA is like 2.25 or something like that there. So, but right now I would go with the Hunters as the Cy Young
like it.
caliber there.
MVP / Player of April. National League.
Let's see here. I think
Green.
we're gonna try one more time here. Welcome to Sports Chat. What's on your mind?
Oh boy.
Whoa.
You okay? We're fine. We wondered if you were all right. We were worried. We tried to reel you in twice, and you got off the hook. What happened?
Oh goodness. Whoa.
A hot date, or what's going on there?
What's more important? Another phone call or talking to
Yeah, we have to
us
play
guys?
second fiddle to
Yeah.
who? Okay. Okay, they got rained out. Is that really what happened, or the Outlaws just decided not to show it? Maybe they got picked up and put in the slammer. They are Outlaws after all.
Next week, yeah.
Next week, okay. Well, was there really bad weather? I can't even remember that long ago. Saturday. Okay.
Lots of rain, yeah.
Light rain. Well, if you get, do you have season tickets or you just pay as you go?
I got a season ticket.
Well, what happens when it's rained out? Do you get money back? Wow. All right, so if you don't have results, what do you have?
I went to the soccer.
Soccer?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
What about soccer?
No. The total ejection. That's the end of now.
I don't know.
The total ejection in baseball.
Oh, the ejection tracker.
Oh, E.T. Oh, sorry. We must have a bad connection. I couldn't tell what he was saying. Go ahead.
The ejection
What was it
tracker.
last week?
I think-
11.
11 last week. We are now at 15.
A snail's pace.
Yes, I think you're going to win this this race, but it's still early. You know, everyone was monitoring their P's and Q's in the month of April. See
When
what
did we-
happens
When did
when.
we pick that? Oh, here it is. Oh, seasons ET total. Oh, I'm the low person by 80.
Yeah, and you're looking good with that. You know.
Jack, my cousin, was that my cousin Jack on April? And by the way, he sent me a really nice thank you note. So he liked his Eagles T-shirt that Nancy and I got him, and said he really enjoyed it. So we'll get Jack back. Call out, we call it. Yes, sir. Yeah.
How did you recommend pick up myself from last week for trivia?
Remind me what you were.
One of the I don't know.
I mean, I remember it was something extremely clever, but I don't remember exactly what it was. We do we have, I guess we have it on the,
On YouTube
each
there, yeah.
episode. Don't we show the final scores on,
Yeah.
on the screen? So we have a record of it if somebody wants to go back and figure out how many points Greg has in his whole trivia career.
Arsenal there, yeah.
Greg
Probably in
Weaver.
the millions now, yeah.
Corey,
Yes.
I am not Katie. It's Robert.
Okay, how'd you come up with that?
Oh, okay, yeah. Is he talking?
Yeah, I think he says, I'm not Katie, I'm Robert. I think that's who he had last week.
Oh, okay. Well, who's Katie?
One of the other trivia panelists or other
Okay.
people that were
All
playing,
right,
and
all
then,
right.
he was just going with that.
Well, Robert, you could chime in on this. You love racing. How about horse racing? Corey, this is an interesting group of names for the. But Bob Baffert, I recognize his name. He was suspended for 3 years. Now he's back, and a host of other individuals. Talk a little bit about. I mean, you can read off the list of names.
Yeah, I mean,
and
there's
talk about who is the favorite.
Yeah, there's so many names out there. The Kentucky Derby, the 151st Kentucky Derby at in Lexington, Kentucky, or Louisville, Kentucky. I'm sorry about that. That Louisville,
Neo
Kentucky.
Equos.
Yeah, there's 20 horses out there. I believe the favorite to win at 3-1 odds is Journalism.
Journalism. Grande, Flying Mohawk, East Avenue, Publisher, Tistastic, Render Judgment, Cold Battle, Sandman, Sovereignty, Chunk of God, Owen Almighty. And then back at the top, Bob Baffert, Trained, Citizen Bull, Final Gambit, Rodriguez, also a Baffert.
Yeah.
Entry, American Promise, Admire Daytona, Luxor Cafe, and as you said, the favorite, Journalism, and then Burnham Square, last not least. But
So, looking at those names,
what is it? What time is that? The pregame or the pre-race hoopla?
they have about like 12 other races throughout. So
The mint juleps are flying. And what, in the Preakness is Black Eyed Susans?
I think.
Yes, sir. Robert, what do you have?
I think there should be a horse named after you.
You think what?
I think there should be a horse named after you.
A horse named after me. It already is, Mr. Ed. That was a non sequitur, but
Let's
you didn't know
see.
my real name is Ed.
The
Jeff Cook is my stage name.
6:57 will be post time, running for the Roses. So 6:57,
Wow. The coverage probably starts at 5:30 or something, and
12 o'clock or something like that. I mean, with other races, there are
Yeah,
about like
yeah,
10 of them.
yeah, the preliminaries.
So looking at these lists of horses, I'm not going to go with the favorite. I'm going to go with Publisher.
All right, well, let's just for fun. Robert, you can get in on this too. We'll give you some help on the list of names, but win, place, and show. Who do you like first, second, and third, Corey? You say Publisher to win it?
Publisher to win it. Second, I'm going to go with, let's go with Citizen Bull
Okay.
for second. And then for place, I'm going to go with Journalism. So I'll go with 13, 1, and...
You can't do wrong with Publisher, Journalism, and
Yeah.
Citizen Bull. Okay. I'm going to say Citizen Bull to win.
Okay.
Rodriguez third. So Baffert's going to go 1 and 3. And I'll go Journalism too.
Okay.
So we have a little difference maker. Robert, you need any of those other names?
Well, I'm going to say this one. I'm going to do the opposite of that.
Just going to do the opposite.
Okay.
I'm going to ride Eagles first.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez first. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Who do you want?
And then who did you say was going to be first in yours?
In mine, I had Citizen Bull.
I was going to say Bull next.
Second. Okay. And you want to go Journalism third, or Publisher third, or any of these other names? Sandman?
You got Flying Mohawk out there.
I want the Sandman. I want to go sleep.
Sandman.
Sandman, all
Okay.
right.
You'll put the field asleep with the astuteness of your picks. All right. Well, you know, this could be some good for some laughs next week.
Oh,
We'll see.
absolutely.
All right. You just have to remember who you picked. So I got Citizen Bull to win it. You guys have him second. I have Journalism second, and Rodriguez third. Robert has Rodriguez to win it. Citizen Bull second, and Sandman third. Oh, this is going to be
Here
exciting.
we go. I got the.
Okay.
I got
You
the
got, I
numbers,
got it
yeah.
reserved too for posterity, maybe for the Smithsonian. We'll see.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see what happens. Yes.
So, I want to tell you now. For the PA, total ejection for next week will be higher next week.
Okay. I mean, we're at the 15. Are you going to say like 25 or 20 or I mean, what do
You
you?
talking ejection tracker?
Yeah, he's going. He's back to that ET.
Well, okay. I mean, mayhem could break loose at any time, and those numbers could get inflated in a hurry. as the season heats up.
20. He's going with 25 for next week.
Okay, well, write it. You think I should write it down just to show your clairvoyance? I'm writing it down with quotes. E.T. will be 25. All right.
With only a few minutes left of the show here, we haven't talked about the NFL draft.
Yeah, I meant to. I bring it
yeah.
up at one point. So the drama unfolded with how far will Shedeur Sanders fall? Wasn't that the biggest story of the draft?
Yeah, I mean, he went all the way to the 5th round, the 144th pick, to the Browns.
Behind some guy named Slough, or was it Slouch, or what?
Oh, you don't want to mess that up there because Carl, with he went to Louisville.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't he old too? He's 26 or something?
26 there, yeah. So, I was
That's not old, by the way.
no, I mean for
For a college
yeah.
graduate.
I was surprised at just seeing the fault with Sanders. I think it kind of goes back to how he kind of handled interviews and how scouts and GMs looked at him.
His work ethic.
Or just kind of his moxie or such there, and then it was
Nonchalance.
more of a turn off than a turn on.
Or, I mean, was there a little bit of the ball factor? Is Coach Prime thought of as a deterrent to teams that, hey, we want to be your coach. We don't want you listening to your father. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but Alonzo Ball and with the three
Ball
Ball
family
brothers,
there, yeah.
the Ball family, their dad is kind of a helicopter dad, and I don't know if Coach Prime is like that or not.
Yeah, and then seeing with the Browns drafting two quarterbacks, they drafted Gabriel
Dylan
from Oregon.
Gabriel. right?
Gabriel. So seeing that and then drafting another quarterback with Shedeur,
And they already have Flacco and who else?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett, former Eagle, former Steeler. So they have a full room.
So that's going to be interesting there. And I think, the Jags trading up from 5 to 2, that's going to be, they gave up their first round pick there,
Yeah.
to get, Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, we got another call. Let's go to the phone line.
Stick that in
Welcome
there
to
before
Sports
we
Chat.
end the show there.
Hello? Well, hello. Hello again, sports fans. We thought we had another caller. So
Hello?
talk about what do you think of the Steelers picks?
I was kind of surprised. I think Shedeur was not on their roster there.
No, Mel
or
Kiper
their-
was, this is the best available, you got to take Shedeur. But not only did they not take him, lots of people didn't, so.
Nope, I think we got.
Hello, welcome. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
All right, Jeff.
Carl,
Go on.
what do you think of the draft?
How about Louisville quarterback Tyler Shuck, second round, 8th pick overall, New Orleans? I love it.
How do you pronounce his name?
Tyler Shuck.
Okay, and is he 26 years old?
Yeah. Okay, I knew how good he was because I watched Louisville every week.
Uh-huh.
People that didn't watch Louisville, they have no clue who he is.
Sure.
I
But I'm telling you,
I
obviously they thought something of him because he went high in the draft, which I knew he would.
I think this is a good landing spot there, with the Saints. Where he fell, not fell. I think there's. I hate saying fell because I think where he landed at is a good spot there with the Saints. With that quarterback room there, there's lots of younger quarterbacks. I don't see Carr playing this year with his shoulder injury, so I think this is a good spot for him to take the reins and run with it to be the starting quarterback there with the Saints there. So
That's good for Louisville, second rounder. Now next year, my prediction, Corey, is Miller Moss coming in from USC, Louisville quarterback. I think there's a potential there that he could be a first rounder.
I could see it. Definitely could see, Moss, kind of being in that fold there with the other quarterbacks there. There's about 4 or 5 quarterbacks out there that can be a first-round talent. You know, the one in Texas is the main one.
Now, Louisville's coach, Brom, used to quarterback Louisville, so he knows how to groom quarterbacks. He did a couple years ago with Jack Plummer. Jeff Cook knows who Jack Plummer's father was.
Mm-hmm.
Jake the Snake.
Yes, so they had him a couple years ago. They had Tyler Shump last year. Now they're bringing in Miller Moss. So now, you know, the quarterback out there maybe next year in the transfer portal is pretty good, can come to Louisville. Because, and also I'm glad they also had a linebacker, Ashton Gillette. He went in the 3rd round to the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. I did see that there. So that's definitely interesting to see, you know, how, you know, the Louisville Cardinal players do in the NFL there. So
Now, on the ACC network that I watched, the 3 teams are bound for that division. Out of the 17 teams, there's 3 of them: Louisville, Clemson, and Miami. They're the front runners.
yeah, I don't see. I mean, it's so early to say that. I always say that there, but
What about Belichick's team?
North Carolina, you know, who knows? I mean,
They're the X factor.
it's such a wild card, I would say there.
well, you know what? Everybody thought Dion. What did they do the first year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in the first year with him. Will they be better? Yes. I think it's going to take him maybe, you know, not this season coming up, but next season they could be a legit team.
I think
Yeah.
the expectations will grow next year. I think UNC will probably be a 7-5, 6-6 is probably my guess.
You know, Corey, I agree. Just like Dion. You know, Dion, you know, everybody thought, oh my God, first year we're going to win a championship. I don't think so.
Is this the first time in a while that we actually agree on something?
Right?
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
How about the ex-Buckeye quarterback and ex-Orangeman, now a Philadelphia Eagle?
Kyle McCord.
Oh yeah, free agent? Or they?
Oh, well, he drafted in the 6th round, I think it was.
Okay.
Then also, I think Penn State picked up the receiver, Kyle McCord at Syracuse, his favorite target. I think Penn State picked him up in the transfer portal. You know anything about that, Corey?
I'm not too
That sounds like that sounds right.
Yeah.
Hey Carl, we're almost out of time, but we're so glad you're back in the fold. And we're going to continue this conversation next week about the draft. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we
so
devote a whole
much,
show
yeah.
to it. So, all right. So call us next week, please.
Yeah, I will.
All right. We'll tell Robert to cool it, and you can get in first.
Can you believe it's almost May? Oh my God.
Yeah,
know,
Wednesday would be
I
the
know.
first day of May.
All day, May
I
Day.
don't want to wait the summer away. I got my sprint car racing.
All right. Good deal.
Actually, Robert won't be on next week because of the races, so.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Carl, it's always good to hear your voice. Thank you.
Hey, Corey, before I get off here for a second, boy, I wish that nobody would have picked up Shaneer Sanders. Me and my friends that laughed, we were laughing. And you know, Travis Hunter was bragging, right, saying that they would be 1-2. They were all right. You know, yeah, you're talking about first round and second round. But I'm kind of glad that I guess they didn't want the baggage.
Yeah, I think that's what happens with a lot of teams. They just didn't want that distraction or that aura around them. And, Pittsburgh went with Will Howard. You know my thoughts with Will Howard. So I think he's going to contend. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with Pittsburgh. I think it's just a matter of time. But I think that's a good spot there with Will Howard.
So where did Shaneer Sanders go, to the Browns?
To the Browns there. See what happens. Yeah, the Browns are the Browns.
Obviously they thought that Tyler Shump was better than him, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, guys.
All right, Carl, you're the best. Thank you. And with that, any parting thoughts?
CMA. That's all I got.
CMA, Country Music Awards?
Well, no, I'm just saying this is our last show in April, so I'll
see you in May.
May. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay. I thought you were talking in code.
No
All
code
right,
talk.
May indeed. We'll be dancing around the maypole when we return. Corey Smith and I signing off. This is Sports Chat. See you next Tuesday. Good night, everybody. Mahalo.
choice to make, and there's no time to pout.